collapsed and went to zero. And there's 700 off-balance sheet special purpose entity funds held billions of debt that had to be priced, which means the equity got wiped. And by the way, speaking of corrupt Irish bankers, the word on the street in the press, right, is that the country's got 80 billion in bad debts. That number is out of my ass, okay? By any reasonable estimate, the number is closer to 500 billion. You're talking 3 times GDP. It's not mark to market. It's held in Nama. What the hell is a Nama? It's Vietnam. They won't price it to market, because if they do, it means the entire bond market collapses and the entire country is completely bankrupt. So they keep it on the books, they keep paying the interest, they keep rolling these things, they keep the propaganda rolling. Why? Because they think the housing market's going to come back someday. And of course, people are saying, you know, even today, I'm amazed, just walking around the streets, you know, you meet somebody, hey Max, how's it going? Yeah, I see you on the show. What are you up to? And they'll say, hey, you know what, Max? Now's a good time to buy. I say, what? Yeah, now's a good time to buy. It's bottomed. Housing's bottomed. You gotta buy. Sad truth is that housing hasn't bottomed. Housing hasn't bottomed here. It hasn't bottomed anywhere in the world. The housing market and all the debt related to the housing market hasn't been marked to market. There's trillions of it still on these books of these banks, and anyone who's buying a house now, I caution you to put your money instead into silver, okay? Yeah! Give it up for silver! Yeah. I was in, over Christmas, I met a guy who was a producer of our Al Jazeera films. Have you ever seen our Al Jazeera films?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been great stuff. By the way, the producer and writer of those films is right here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Stacey Herbert is with us this evening. There she is, the writer and producer of all of our Al Jazeera films. And in fact, she writes all the shows, the Keiser Report shows, the On the Edge shows, and everything that's coming out of my mouth right now. Yeah, I'm kind of a boy toy, I guess. But anyway. So these derivatives, they gathered pace, and all throughout that period, through the crash of '87, the savings and loan crash, the dot-com crash, the Federal Reserve Bank came to the rescue. They lowered interest rates, or the events of 2001, you know, the events there, we're going to talk about later at the end if anyone wants me to talk about that, but some people consider that not my strong suit, but they could do that. But anyway, it caused the Fed to lower rates again and again and again. And the bankers, of course, engaged in what's known as moral hazard. Your Honor, I just killed that family and stole all their property, but it's okay, I just got a slight case of moral hazard. Oh, okay, so you're free. That's my defense. I suffer from moral hazard. It started in my liver. Progressed to it. Oh, I got moral hazard. Oh. So they simply put a name to it called moral hazard. And they said that well, we're just going to take all those debts and we're going to keep building off-balance sheet ways to hide the debts. We're going to create dark exchanges. I don't know if you've seen this term in the press, a dark exchange. They've set up exchanges now completely outside of any regulatory authority, any scrutiny whatsoever. They're just trading huge blocks of worthless pieces of paper with each other and paying themselves fees. If you go to Wall Street, go to Harry's and Hanover on Wall Street, you get 2 stockbrokers, one from Goldman Sachs, one from JP Morgan. They're drunk off their ass. They each write on cocktail napkins and blurry lipstick $30 billion. They swap it with each other. They pay each other 2% fee on that, and then they go home happy and rich. That's the business. Now, that may sound a bit of a stretch, but in fact what we're finding is that it's not a bit of a stretch because there's nothing there. Why is this resistance to audit, let's say, the Federal Reserve Bank in the United States? Why every time this Congressman Ron Paul says, you know, I want to audit the Fed. They bought trillions of toxic sludge from Wall Street. Let's take a look and see what it's worth. Can't do it. For national security. If we should let you audit the Fed, the terrorists have won. Well, in point of fact, there's nothing in the vaults of the Federal Reserve of resale value. And let me just give you, let me digress from my digression and digress a little. Story from a week ago. Turns out that the financial crash that started in 2007, got rolling in 2008, tripped the financial Armageddon meltdown, was set in motion by Wachovia Bank in the United States, they've paid a fine for this. They were laundering hundreds of billions of Mexican drug cartel money. The authorities came in and they said, we're going to shut this operation down. The Mexican drug cartels pulled the plug on the operation. The only real source of capital in the global capitalist system, the spigot had been turned off. That is drug money. Right? Hence, the liquidity crisis, otherwise known as the insolvency crisis. And then 2 years later, it turns out that, and this is reported, check it out, Google it or whatever, the 2008, Henry Paulson goes to Congress and says, we're on the verge of Armageddon. We need $750 billion immediately based on this one-page memo that gives us all your money and with no strings. And Lehman Brothers fails, Bear Stearns fails, people are saying, my God, this is the end. And within a couple of days, the commercial paper market starts to get active again. There's a little bit more juice, things happen. Comes out later that the cash to get the economy rolling again came from the Mexican drug lords. The same cash. So this is the only real money in circulation. That is stuff that you can hold on to and use to snort blow with at the same time. If you open the Fed, you'll find Pablo Escobar and Tim Geithner snorting big rails. Because that's all that's in there. Yeah. Let's see. Let's get back to my propaganda. Or I have, first of all, again, thank you, Ireland, made the #1 country in the world in terms of our rating for MaxKeiser.com. We're in the top 850 sites in this country, which, it's pretty good. So it's the #1 country. And, we come here often, and folks are really nice. And people send me stuff like this. I got this deck of financial terrorist playing cards. Somebody took the initiative to do this, and we had them on our site for a while. Here's the Seven of Hearts. Robert Zoellick. Remember him? Who's the Ace of Spades? He's the president of the World Bank. Robert Zoellick. Here's, this is a good one. Here's this scumbag. There's a fucking... Oh yeah, Dominic Strauss-Kahn. Boo. Seven of Diamonds. When you see these people on the street, by the way, shoot them. Here's Stephen Friedman. I don't know who that is. No, Alan Greenberg. Alan Greenberg. Remember him? He was at Ace Greenberg. Bear Stearns. Here's Rahm Emanuel. Here we know. Oh, here's a good one. Six of Diamonds. Six of Diamonds. Should be the Ace of Diamonds. Anyone want to guess?
Jean-Paul Trichet.
Jamie Dimon.
No. Close.
Tim Geithner.
Close. No.
Jacob Rothschild.
It's a woman. Yes. Blythe Masters. Who said Blythe Masters? There you go. This is fun. Here's financial terrorist cards. I'm like Ricky J up here, remember him? Ricky J, cards as weapons. This is good. Can I get all the way to the back? Ah! No. All right, so who is Blythe Masters? Well, she is kind of the gal who invented the credit default swap, which is the kind of the weapon of mass financial destruction that does the most financial destruction. And it essentially allows banks to pass risk off their balance sheet and put it into the public domain so that everyone else can suffer austerity for no reason. So that everyone else can watch their food and energy prices go up in value. So everyone else can see that their savings account gets 0 rate of return. This is all unnecessary, and it's all calculated and all engineered by a bunch of financial terrorists. And one of the key ones here is Blythe Masters, over there, JP Morgan, and the credit default swap. And here's again where we get into an interesting situation with silver. And now I'm going to walk backwards from my third digression to my second digression. And my second digression was, Max, we know everything sucks, but what do we do about it? Well, here's what we do about it. The global banking system, as monolithic and corrupt as they are, they're not without their vulnerabilities, the Achilles heel. It's not like they're impenetrable. In fact, they have a massive vulnerability. Global banking system, to keep the paper money, fiat, bubble. You blowing your bubbles? What the hell, man? For those who have come late, we got Luke here as my bubble machine. Why don't you come on stage, Luke? Come on, give my Luke a round of applause. All right, Luke, here's your chair. All right, sit there. All right, Luke, you got a good light on you. Keep those bubbles blowing. That's not great, though, Luke. That's nice. That's good. Keep it going. And this really is like a lesbian bar. Dun, 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 dun. Am I an exhibitionist? Well, I'm glad you asked that question.